people that are running for new offices, I'm going to not introduce all and recognize all of our elected officials because I don't know which ones are which direction at this moment. So I do apologize for that, but as everybody does know, they're doing a great job introducing themselves and getting in front of you guys. So y'all don't know who is running for what positions. Well, that's on them. But I'm not gonna like slow us down at all because we do have a lot of business. I say business. I say that loosely. We have people that want to speak, and I want to give them the opportunity. So, without further ado, I have someone that wants to introduce our first guest.
Okay.
She's holding a recording this, so give me 1 second.
Good morning, everybody. Shelley, can you please stand up, please, ma'am? Whitney, can you stand up, please? Josh, where you at? Anybody represent Josh?
I represent Josh.
All right, Matt, stand up. These are the newcomers. These are the faces. These are the conservatives. This is what you call the new breed. These are the people standing in gap for everyone in the state of Georgia in their districts, and they all need a hand clap. That's what they need. You stepping in and battling not only Satan, but also the inner workings within our heart. And there's a lot of them that don't want you to have this turn. They're telling you to wait your turn. God says, step out, my son and daughter. Do and let him guide you, not anyone else. You're getting it for the betterment of your future, your children, and your children's children. And right now, the state of Georgia needs y'all more than what we've already have. What we call the dangerous game. First, I'm just waiting for one of y'all to tell me, hey, they told me to wait my turn. Oh, you gonna hear that, especially females. Pretty sure, especially females. Don't be a pushover, but hey, if we can birth babies, we don't care what they do. So my name is Lucretia Hughes. I have a show, it's called The Real News with Lucretia Hughes. One of my besties, and I met Matt McGregor 4 years ago at a rally in North Carolina. I did not know how much of a pivotal point that him and his wife would have in my life. So when they said, he asked me, he said, "Be my campaign manager." Who, me? He said, "Yeah, you can do it." I said, "I don't know anything about running a campaign, but I know how to run my mouth." Okay? I was raised in Gainesville, Georgia, so we was raised rough and tough. I had to tell them, you know, we used to walk to Riverside Military Academy. She said, "Y'all walked how far?" Hey, we didn't have nothing else to do. We was raised rough, hard, and we stayed out in the street. As long as the street lights didn't come on, you were safe going home. Right. So I am from this area, so I know what you're talking about because I lived on Summer Street, Newtown, Melrose. I don't know what it is, Oscar Road. So when I come back home, it feels so good at the economic development that is happening, but we need it all over the place without taking God out of this small community, even though his work is going up. And that is what I love about Matt McGregor. He truly believes in what the motto of the Republican Party is supposed to stand on. Less taxes, less government, more self-responsibility. Somehow we become a namesake, and we need to stop. So everyone that is running for office right now, here's your chance to make a difference in Georgia politics. And believe it or not, you've already won because they can never take your names out of the history books. They can never say you didn't stand up and you did something. They can never say that you didn't stand out on faith because you're doing something the majority of the 11 million constituents in the state of Georgia is not willing to do, but they will beat you up on the sideline. So as I'm sitting here and standing here, I want to introduce you, not only a Marine, okay? Not only a blue-collar worker, okay? But a man that I know can do a better job than anything that's down there right now because he ain't tainted yet. And he's not going to be tainted because I'm on his side and I'm going to breed bull crap a mile away. That's what happens when you're a grandmother of 9. So I ain't got time for that. I know what my calling is. I know what I'm supposed to be doing before I leave this earth. And I want to make sure that the state of Georgia stays a sovereign state inside a sovereign country before we sell our policies and our love for this nation down the road. Everyone wants to say this is the last leg, this is the last time. Not if we got strong people like y'all running. So I want to introduce y'all Mac McGregor, who has qualified to be the candidate for the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia. Mac McGregor.
I'm gonna have to put the microphone down because I'm not sure because I'm not getting a little excited. That I'm sorry, so I speak a little loud anyway. I need all the candidates and the people that are representing candidates, please stand back up. I want to tell you thank you for standing in the gap. I want to tell you thank you for standing up for the state of Georgia and taking back your local area across the board. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be hard. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get blamed for stuff. And it's going to be rough. I know. They're coming at me every day. I want to say thank you. All right. So a little bit about myself. United States Marine Corps from 1993. Husband of 27 years. 4 daughters. Good thing I'm a Marine because I had to deal with 4 daughters. 8 grandkids. Does that tell you automatically where I stand right now? I'm trying to save not only the future of my kids, but the future of my grandkids. I want to see them walk in a path where they don't have to wake up every day dealing with what we're dealing with right now. As a United States Marine, when I got out, I did not think that I was literally going to have to fight for the United States inside the United States. This is ridiculous. The things that are going on are ridiculous. So let me hit on a little bit about what's going on in the lieutenant governor's race. Now, number one, I don't bash candidates. I will sit here and tell you the truth about your candidate. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Jeannie C was pleased in the red flag law. Okay, so now let's talk about the other two, and one of them's got a Trump endorsement, right? Big deal, right? Let's talk about HB 316 real fast, and then I'll call out their name. HB 316 brought in the Dominion machines and the drop boxes Georgia never seen before. Do we put blame on that for where we're at today?
Yes.
I definitely do. Okay? Now understand the Dominion machine and the drop boxes were voted on before the machines even got approved by the Federal Elections Board. Yeah, they brought them into Georgia before even the federal level even vetted them. And then I stood in front of Brad Rattensberger just 2 weeks ago at Dalton State University and called him out, and he said, yeah, HB 316 happened first. Then the Dominion machines got vetted by the federal level and the state level. I've got it on video. So now the other two candidates that voted this in to put us in the mess that we're in today are Burt Cummings and Butch Miller. Now, how many of you actually knew about HB 316? Very few. That's the reason why I'm rising in the polls. Y'all don't see it because they don't want to put it out there. They're trying to suppress me like everything else. And like everyone in this room. So, they're going to make why you running. So I'm going to tell you a little story of the reason why I'm running. It's pretty much a big part of this. I work night shift, 40 hours a week, 42 minutes one way, 42 minutes back home. I get up at 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm home by 5:30 in the morning. Then I spend 2 to 3 hours going through emails and, But literally, I got up one day, and I was sitting in there at 2:30, drinking my coffee, trying to get away and get ready to go. I have a granddaughter that is now 7, but at the time she was about 5 or 6 years old. Well, I turn the TV on just for the noise of it. I don't really watch the news, don't really care for it. Here come these little pig-patter people right out the room, right? And I'm not paying attention. Kids are gonna run around like grandkids are supposed to do. But off the top, I heard this as loud and as clear as a drill instructor was yelling at me. She said, "People, why are they burning our flag?" Well, I put my coffee down at what? And I so had to look at the TV, and sure enough, she's pointing at the TV where they're burning our flag. How do you think that made me feel as a Marine? What am I supposed to tell a 6-year-old? Notice that she said our flag. Not her flag, not my flag, not your flag, but our flag. All I can do is hang my head and go, because I'm letting it happen. And it hit me hard. This 6-year-old turned around and pointed straight at me and said, "What are you going to do about it?"
All right.
Standing here today. I will no longer tolerate the federal government trying to tell me what to do, when to do it, how to do it. If I don't do it, I get punished for it. I'm done.
Amen.
I am tired of the state not taking corrective action ahead of time before the problem happens instead of after the problem. That's where they're always a day late, a dollar short. They're always wanting to fix the problem after it's done happening. How about we put something in place to keep it from happening? I think it's about time we get that done. I'm over it. I've had enough of it. Because what I got right here in my back pocket, I always carry. Okay, the federal government has done this to it. Correct?
Yeah.
And the federal government thinks they're at the top, right? And they think we the people are down here at the bottom, right? Well, I need we the people to take this Constitution and flip it back around and put the federal government back where they belong. Which is on the bottom. Okay? Now I'm not here to ask for you to vote, but I am asking you to check me out. Information's everywhere. I can't be bought. I'm self-funded, and I'm on the rise, faster than anybody knows. Okay? You can check me out at McGregorforGeorgia.com. Self-funded. Matter of fact, I got t-shirts back there you can buy. I can't be bought. You know?
Say that again, whoever put that on replay.
All right. It is time to fight back, people. And I can honestly say I'm really proud that some of the people in this room that are willing to fight in their local area, that are willing to stand up and do what's right. Okay, because the time has come to where evil versus good. I don't care how you see it. We got communists that are now running our federal level and trying to sink down into our state level. I'm even seeing it in my own county. I had pushed back on my county commissioner so much. I had pushed back on my local sheriff, my mayor so much. Tell me what other candidates had the FBI called me only twice. You know what the FBI called me? No, I won't let him back wrong because he backed it up with this proves right here. People will stand on your side if you back this and slap them with it. They will back off. But you got to know this. And you got to know that the Bible helped write this. Okay? You got to know them both. This is what this country was founded on. Okay? Georgia's my house. The USA, America, is my home. I think it's about time we clean up our house, and then we can start cleaning up our home. Okay? It's time to protect the kids. It's time to protect the elderly. It's time to get something done. My name is Matt McGregor. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do
what you've done? You said you worked second shift.
Yes, sir,
You were a Marine for 3 years.
yes, sir. I was a Marine for 3 years. I'm right now a floor supervisor at Tag Manufacturing out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now, some other stuff that I have done before I got all into that is the fact that I get with groups to help in disastrous areas. Okay, how many of you heard of the Cajun Navy? Okay, I work with them. This is what I do. We went to Florida for Hurricane Irma in 2017. We delivered 30,000 pounds worth of goods over a 2-week period. Show me any other candidate that's running right now that's willing to stand out and blister and eat for 2 weeks and do that.
Chattanooga.
Okay. Now, after the Chattanooga shooting, I was up in New Hampshire at the time, but after the Chattanooga shooting, I stood guard 7 days a week, 18 to 19 hours a day, to protect the future brothers and sisters that were coming into my Marine Corps. Okay? I'm talking loaded up. I got pictures everywhere. We were armed to the teeth because we were not going to let anything happen to our brothers and sisters. How many of you know where Summerville, Georgia's at? All right. Remember when the water plant broke down because the water got contaminated and nobody in Summerville could even drink a drop of water? I get a phone call at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Matt, Summerville don't have water. Get a hold of the Cajun Navy. We start pumping, we start getting water trucks in there. We start bringing water. I start delivering water on a daily basis after I get off at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, it's things like that is what I do. But yet our state house, like Mr. Brian Kim, can come on television and say only 1 case of water per household, instead of being down there and figuring something out. See what I'm saying? It's about time for change. Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for your service. Secondly, all politics are local, right? And you're running for Lieutenant Governor of Georgia. What are you going to do as Lieutenant Governor to improve the lives of the citizens of Georgia?
On what part? I'm
you're one-
asking you, because there's dozens of examples out there. Okay, so how about we ban CRT? How about we make communism illegal again? How about we get rid of state taxes? I'm sorry, all the other states around us don't have no state tax. What are they doing right that we're doing wrong that we gotta pay state taxes? Why do we even have T-Splotch when I run around over on potholes and everything else and that don't seem to get done? There's a lot of illegal activity. CPS, defects, I'm real strong on that one. Okay? Remember a lady by the name of Nancy Schaefer? Did you say no?
No,
Okay.
if they know Nancy, they know the subject.
They already know the subject. But I'm after the corruption in the CPS defect system. Big time.
Yes, oh, wow.
Yeah, okay, so we know where everybody stands on that as well. Yeah, I'm willing to help with your help to improve Georgia. This ain't all on me. I gotta hear it from everybody, because that's where more self-reliability comes in. What do you want done? You propose it, we'll put something together. If you come to the office and say, hey, Matt, what do you think about this? Well, why don't you go out in your GOP area, local area, get an evaluation or a poll done, bring it back to us and see what we can do. Great.
Am I right?
You agree?
Sort of.
Oh, God. Tough customer.
Well, I mean, it's a big state. It's gonna be hard to get influenced.
Look, not all 10 million people are gonna get on board with me.
All I'm looking for is your platform. That's all.
My platform, I want less taxes, less government, and more self-responsibility. And if I write legislation, I want it to follow the Constitution not go against it. Okay, because that seems to be the problem again. The right legislation that's killing the Constitution. Man,
What is, Lieutenant Governor, that sounds fancy, but what does the Lieutenant Governor do? What's the role of that office?
here we go, because this is the fun part of the whole situation right here. Lieutenant Governor runs the Senate side. What does the Senate do? They write the law. The House deals with the parties. So that means the Lieutenant Governor, you see something funny going on, he can actually put a committee together, like a judiciary committee, okay, appoint people, right? And call people in front of that committee. And if they found guilty, well, there's other punishments that can happen. But literally, we run the Senate. It's what happens. If something happens to the governor, then I can fill in for the governor. See what I'm saying? But I literally deal with the law side of things. We write the laws.
So we have these Dominion machines, and I'm assuming that the vast majority of us, if not all of us, want them out. But that was a very expensive process to get them in here. It was incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
So what would you propose on how to fix the situation, including how to not make it where Georgia's even more in debt? Because I believe in not having debt. I would like to see, Georgia as a whole, I think we've always done a really great job of managing our funds. I would like to see us not go in debt to fix the situation that other people put us in. Which, I hate to say this, we put ourselves in the situation. Let's make that clear. We did that. That wasn't just them. We allowed this to happen. So what would you propose?
Okay, so, like I said, when HB 316 came in, it cost you, the Georgians, $170 million. Yeah. I didn't vote for it. I don't think anybody else would have voted for $170 million for the machine. What I would propose to do is that, because it's a 20-year contract, you have to use it for the next 10 years, pay the $170 for the next 20. Why don't they look into it and figure out what the stipulations were? And on top of that, you know, if there was cheating, if it was hooked up to the Wi-Fi, the Secretary of State's telling me no, it never was. I mean, somebody lying. And to be honest, when you vote for something like that without vetting it first, that should be a breach of contract to begin with. So I think that the people, the legislators who voted yes on that should be held accountable.
Legally?
And I think the $170 million should come out of their pocket.
Do you think they need to be held accountable legally? Meaning,
Legally,
so
financially.
I'm big on like jail time. So are we talking about jail time?
Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with this. I remember a president that was running and goes, well, if I was president, you'd be in jail. I'm still waiting on that one, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I love Trump to death, I love the legislation that he, signed in, I love what he done for this country, because honestly, the country was the best at that time. I want to be the first lieutenant governor to press charges like you talking about, and put these crooked people in jail. I do.
If my last part to this, if you do become lieutenant governor and you're making a promise right now, do you also promise that if anybody that works for Dominion, that works for them as far as their executives, that they also go to jail if they ever step foot in the state of Georgia ever again?
I want to make Dominion the secret, because you got to remember okay.
Will you promise that?
Well, you have to remember this, okay? It wasn't just the Dominion machines. The guts that are inside the Dominion machines were also in your diabolical machines.
Yes, it was.
You do know that, right? Why do you think Stacey Abrams threw such a fit? Because it's both sides doing the cheating. Now, whatever compromise they come up with this go around, I'll never know. But yeah, people need to get prosecuted. People need to go to jail because they need to understand they're not above this, and they're not above the law of the land. Okay? The two-tier system, I'm done with that. That's what they're so scared of, because you said it yourself. we were standing in the gold zone getting ready to pay qualification fees, and you can tell everybody was talking about us, the grassroots people, because they started trembling. Because they knew right then that I meant business on what I've been saying across the state of Georgia. I want to be the first lieutenant governor to put these people in jail. I won't seek nothing less. We good? Anybody else? All right.
Sorry, I wasn't back, yelling out things. A lot of you have already had the privilege to meet Shelley. She has been one of our county commissioners for
This is my fourth year.
4th year. She has decided to take on a rather large task, and since she's done such a great job in representing us so far, she wants to take it to the next level. She is running for state senate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. If I can do what Lucretia does, and give an introduction like that, I would. Shelley, I am so sorry. Man, I'm not gonna hold her up because I know she has some stuff to talk about. I was here for clap and I was here for doing a little cheering, so I feel like she's a little energized right now. But put her on the spot. But without further ado, Shelley.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I used to be a teacher, so I can project. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Shelley Eccles. I currently serve as a Hall County Commissioner in District 3. I'm finishing up my term, my four-year term, and so this is the last year of that. A little bit about me, I'm a Christian. First and foremost, I'm a Christian. My family, we go to Level Grove Baptist Church. Since we've been members at Level Grove, I've served as a Sunday school teacher, a Mission Friends teacher, and currently my husband and I serve on a committee that cooks and serves about 125 youth dinner every Wednesday night. That's something that we do because we know that those kids are coming in from ball practice or clubs or whatever they've been doing after school and they're hungry, and that's one more hot meal we know they're going to get today. And so we do that to serve the youth. Also, I have 2 kids in the youth, so what better way to know what's going on than to be there serving. So that's what I do as far as being a Christian. Next, I'm a wife. Drew and I have been married for 22 years, it'll be 23 years in May. Some of you may be surprised to find out that I'm not a farmer. I'm sorry if I disappoint you, but if you know J. Moore Farms, you know my husband Drew. He's a hard worker. Our family has been invested in this community. I've lived in Hall County my whole life. I'm a mom. My daughter Chloe is here. She surprised me. She slept over with a friend last night and snuck in the back, so I appreciate you coming to support Mama. She's 18. She's a senior at Lakeview, and we're waiting on all those college acceptances to come in so she can decide what she's going to do next. However, she wants to follow in her daddy's footsteps and be a farmer, and I'm so proud of her. I have a son, Drew, and I have a son, Cohen. He's 14. He's an 8th grader at North Hall Middle School. Cohen has Down syndrome, and I'll touch on that in just a minute, but that kind of changed the trajectory of my life, changed what I was going to be doing because of what happened when he was born. I'm also a small business owner. After Cohen was born, I was teaching. I was teaching high school government in Hall County schools, and Cohen was born had Down syndrome. Well, you can't work a public job and go to therapy, specialists, all of the appointments that you need to go to. You can't do that working a public job. So I was fortunate enough that I was able to go work for my dad. He owned the bus company, Daniels Charters. So I went to work for him. I was over compliance and then eventually HR for his company. But while I was working there, I missed being an educator. You know, when it's in your heart, it's in your heart. So I started my own company, and I merged my travel and tourism hat that I was wearing at Daniels Charters with my education hat, and I planned standards-based field trips for schools. So Daniels Educational Tours was born. And that was my baby, that I could take my baby Cohen with me to work, and we could do that, but I could still help educate kids because learning doesn't stop when you leave the classroom. Let's see. I'm a former teacher. Some of you may or may not know that. I mentioned that earlier. I taught at Johnson High School and East Hall High School. While I was teaching, just to kind of touch into my conservative roots, I was the teen
front-page Republican club sponsor at Johnson. So, I've been doing this for a long time, conservatism and educating our youth and bringing up conservative youth and young people is very important to me. But most recently, I've been a county commissioner, and I still serve in that role. While I've served as a county commissioner, I've never raised your property taxes. I've never voted to raise the millage rate. As a matter of fact, we rolled back the millage rate while I've been there. Our county commissioners voted this year on a pay raise. It was a pretty big pay raise. And, so I voted against it. I was the only one that voted against it. I felt like we knew what the pay was when we ran for the job, so why should we give ourselves a pay raise, You're not in this for a pay raise to make more money. You're in this to serve your community, and that's why I'm here. I was also, and still am, very concerned about, the unchecked growth that's happening in Hall County without all the proper infrastructure in place first. So I know that some of you have heard that I've been the sole no vote on some high-density projects coming up, and that's because I feel like if we don't have the infrastructure where those projects are coming already there, then we shouldn't add to the problem. So I've been, a no vote on those for that reason. 2 Octobers ago, there was an incident that happened in Hall County government. We got a cybersecurity attack. Our system shut down. But the thing that I found most interesting about that was the day before that attack happened, we had a published agenda that said that we were about to spend a lot of money on a new cybersecurity program. So, I don't think that was a coincidence. I felt like, these people that are doing these types of things, they're searching the web all the time to look for things like that. They saw that on our agenda, they knew that was a vulnerability of Hall County government, and we were attacked that night. So when that happened, I went to our legislators. I said, here's something that we published in a public agenda that has just cost the, Hall County taxpayers a lot of money and potentially a lot of problems. So I worked with Matt Zignick and Victor Anderson, and we got legislation passed. That's while I was county commissioner, I was working with the legislators, and you've got to know how to do that. A little bit about me too, I serve on a lot of boards. I feel like giving back to the community is the most important thing you can do. So I serve on the Avita Community Partners Board, and I love the work that we do there. Mental health and addiction is a major problem in our community, and I'm there on the battlegrounds with that and working with that group, and that's important. I also serve on the Choices Pregnancy Center Board of Directors. I've been there since 2015, and that's some of the most important work we can do to save lives here in Hall County. We've saved countless babies from abortion, and I'm so proud of the work that we do. But on top of that, Choices, and many of you may not know this, but we don't stop once we get that baby saved. We offer counseling to those mamas. We offer educational opportunities to those mamas to give them the resources and the help that they need once they've chosen to save that life. And that's important work that we do. We're having a gala, I'll just give a little plug, we're having a gala next week. And so if you've not bought a ticket, I encourage you to do that. It's a wonderful evening. You'll see babies that have been saved, and it will warm your heart and really make you want to get in and get involved. I also serve on some other community organizations. I serve on one called Community Education Foundation. We raise money to help support the schools here in Hall County, and that's definitely worthwhile. And then I also serve and have been a part of Leadership Georgia. If you don't know about Leadership Georgia, it's a leadership training organization, and been involved in that since 2015. It's probably every year there's 400, 600 applicants that apply to be in that organization. They take about 60. So my husband and I have been fortunate to be involved in that group since 2015. Conservative principles. I've proven with my work with Choices Pregnancy Center, I've got a son with Down syndrome that would have been aborted by a lot of people when they found out he had Down syndrome, but we chose life. I'm the only candidate in the Senate race right now that is pro-life certified by the Georgia Life Alliance, and I think that's important to know that. Second Amendment, I've been a weapons carry permit holder most of my adult life. And if you want to talk about the importance of the Second Amendment, look at what's happening in Ukraine. That right there is reason enough that we've got to fight to protect that Second Amendment in our rights there. I think that less government is always better. Anytime the government interferes with things, they mess it up. Look, when I was teaching high school, was when Hurricane Katrina happened in Louisiana. But look at those people that were left on their young people know to not rely on the government, but anytime you can have less government, we're all better off. You know, President Trump had a policy about with bureaucracy that if you want to add any further regulation, you have to remove 2 before you can add 1. And you want to talk about getting things done. We got things done when that was going on. And, you know, I was in the transportation industry at that point, and it was, the regulation and the over-regulation was intense, but we certainly appreciated that. But, you know, President Biden and that administration done everything they can to get rid of all the progress we made during Trump's presidency. In the Senate, when I'm elected, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fight to protect every life, the unborn, those that would have been aborted. I'm going to fight for those of us who need to be fought for, the kids with Down syndrome, the kids with learning disabilities, people who are disadvantaged in any way. I'm there to fight for you. I've been there with you. I heavily support a Parents' Bill of Rights. I know that, you know, our legislature right now is looking at that. I don't think it goes far enough. I think that, you know, Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, I love that. You know, it's called the Don't Say Gay bill, wrongfully so, but, you know, to say that you can't teach and indoctrinate kids about sexuality in pre-K through 3rd grade, that you shouldn't even have to pass a law about that.
Right.
But Florida's done it, we need to step up and do that as well. Also, I think in that Parents' Bill of Rights, parents should have the ability to make medical decisions for their children. And when you're talking about putting a mask on a child all day, every day while they're at school, that is a medical decision that school is making, and the parents are not given the right to make that decision. So we'll have to address that and take away that. Also, I think that the Parents' Bill of Rights needs to allow parents access to the classrooms. You can look at the syllabus, you can look at the lesson plans, but the indoctrination is happening in the things that the teachers are saying in the classroom, not what they're putting down on paper. So parents need to have access to that. Critical race theory has no place in our schools. Also, transportation. You know, who better to work on transportation issues than somebody that lives on 365 and drives up and down 365, 985 every single day, multiple times. I've been working with GDOT on some of the issues with inland ports and the transportation problems that we've discovered are gonna be major problems if GDOT doesn't address those. I've been working with them already to bring their attention to those and do some studies to look at those problems. I'm gonna take a small moment now, to talk about agriculture. It's near to my heart, but if y'all don't mind, whisper a prayer tonight for Georgia's farmers, because this weather is about to be devastating to our crops. Not just up here, not just my husband, but farmers all over Georgia, because this weather, you know, peaches bloom once. And if it's frozen and it kills it, they're not gonna bloom later, and you're gonna have peaches later. That is people's livelihood, and we're about to lose big time tonight. So whisper a prayer for those farmers. In conclusion, you know, here in Hall County, we know what's happening down in Gwinnett. It is a mess down there. The Democrats have taken over, and it is out of control. So we've got to check that woke mob. We've got to check that at the Hall County line. We cannot let that infiltrate up into Hall County. So I appreciate all the people down in South Hall that are holding the line down there. You're doing good work. I appreciate you doing it. I've proven that I'm not afraid to stand up for what's right. Even if I'm the only one left standing there, I'm gonna do it because it's the right thing to do. That's what my mom and daddy taught me, that it doesn't matter if you're standing alone, if it's what's right, you do it. And to kind of touch on what Matt said earlier, I can't believe I'm having to campaign to fight for things that our country was founded on. Like it is shameful that in our day and time, we are campaigning in 2022 to fight to preserve what our country was founded on. So I'll leave you with that. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So we talked about the medical decisions with regards to the masks. So I have 2 little boys that are in preschool. Daycare, right? So daycare is governed by a separate body than the schools. But as a parent, I can't find out what that is. How do we get that to be more of a public thing where I can find out as a parent where I need to go, who I need to talk to, and how the best way is to get in touch with that person? Because I was given the health department information, and that's basically an answering machine. So how do we fix that?
So I got some emails about that actually, several months ago. You know, the problem is you've got private businesses that are daycares. So we've got to work on, legislation to protect our kids while they're in those private entities, with the mask. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, you know, Democrats like to say, follow the science, but they're not. You know, because the science shows that, you know, masking kids isn't effective. These kids aren't the super spreaders of COVID, and I mean, quite honestly, I believe COVID is behind us now. You know, especially because we've got an election and the Democrats got to win, so COVID's not even a thing anymore. So, but we do need to look into that. Yes, sir.
Some people think they're saving the United States and the planet by stopping drilling for oil and gas. What do you think about that?
Well, I think probably the same thing everybody in this room thinks about that. You know, when President Biden shut down our pipelines and completely, basically stopped, you know, our independence of our energy independence, you know, that's where the gas prices started shooting up. Inflation started shooting up. You know, we've got to open America back up to you know, drilling, to all of those things. We can do that and still protect our. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you take away our civil liberties?
Of course not.
Thank you, got my vote.
Commissioner, thank you. So if elected, this is gonna be a tough time. You know, it's my hope that we do get rid of the income tax. It is my hope. But the problem that we have is with inflation being 8% and other things, cost of gas, it's gonna cost more to put highway patrol out there. It's gonna cost more to heat the buildings. It's gonna cost more to feed inmates. It's gonna cost more. How, with all these rising costs, are we going to balance a budget next year without increasing taxes?
So that's a good question, and I think that eliminating the income tax while we're dealing with inflation probably is not the best time to do that. Because while I think it's important that we provide as much relief to the citizenry of the state, I also think that, you know, there's a constitutional obligation to balance the budget. And so, you know, tough decisions will have to be made. But I think that when you start phasing in the elimination of the income tax, you can slowly do that and adjust the budget so that we make sure that the budget stays balanced. Yes, sir.
So kind of what Greg was saying, we have states like Tennessee and Florida, they're not worried about their budget.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying, and I understand your response, but wouldn't it make more sense to maybe, we talk about going across that, why not we talk across the state and say, hey, Florida, how are y'all pulling this off? So how can we make this happen?
Absolutely.
Is that something that you would do with Tennessee? Absolutely.
You know, I've shown that while I've been a county commissioner, I've gone to other counties and I said, you know, I like what you're doing here. How are you doing that? You know, while I've been a county commissioner, we have, you know, I support the first responders. I have always done that. We've managed to give pay raises to county employees. We've managed to buy new fleet. We've managed to do all these things, yet we still haven't raised your taxes any. You can do it, you just have to manage your budget appropriately. Yes, sir.
Maybe not a question, but just something I'll throw out there for all of y'all, because we're living more in the Senate race right now. But on the state tax level, we talk about the income taxes. Do some research and think about the idea and thought process. I do a lot of work in commercial construction, and we have offices in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of work in Chattanooga, wastewater treatment plants, and where we don't pay income tax as a company, or do our employees that live in Tennessee, we pay a corporate tax for all the work that we do there too. So the ability to balance the budget in Georgia as well too, remove that personal tax for the income level, doesn't mitigate all the businesses around Georgia that come and do work in Georgia too, to supply those funds as well also. Just think through that as y'all thinking through the balancing of the budget and things of that nature.
Great point. You know, I read John Linder and Neil Morse's fair tax and the fair tax too. You know, 15 years ago when those first came out, and I was all on board. I went to DC, we were talking to lawmakers on a federal level to eliminate the federal income tax, and I think it's time that we do that and figure out the most fair way to do that. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the sort of the classification of minors. I think in Georgia, they're 16, they're still classified as a minor, and 17, they become classified as an adult when it comes to criminal charges and things. So I believe there was a legislation that was up for voting to classify, actually to increase the age of a minor to 17. And I was just wondering where you're.
Well, I'm always in favor of personal accountability for your actions. I think that when you've got 16, 17-year-olds making very adult decisions and committing very adult behaviors, I think, most times, unless there's another situation, there's always other issues going on. But, and that's why I think that the DAs should have the flexibility to choose which charge is most appropriate for the person. Any more questions?
Well, first, I'm happy to read it. The first one online.
Okay.
So this, Stephen Anderson asks, what is your opinion on putting cameras and microphones in classrooms to monitor teachers, that teachers be teaching indoctrination ideals, different CRT, sex ideology is,
So, in my comments, I mentioned in that Parents' Bill of Rights that we need access to the classroom. I think that you have to be, there's a delicate balance because you have to protect the minor students who are in that classroom, but parents should have the right to hear what's going on in the classroom. Yes?
So, you're an educator.
Yep.
I'm just ignorant, I don't think I am on this. As an educator, what I've noticed is a lot of parents typically drop off their kids and they look at the school system as a daycare. What's your view on what the parent's role should be after the kids get off the bus?
So my husband and I had a conversation recently about, all of the things that we're needing to do now because of the problems we see in education, it all boils down to parents not being parents. They're disengaged, they're not involved, they have no idea who their kids' teachers are. And that is another foundation of who I am, is that we have to accept personal responsibility for our actions. And parents are not doing that nowadays, and it's unfortunate. So schools are in a terrible position because not only are they trying to teach these kids the academic standards that they're required, but they're trying to teach them how not to be jerks. They're trying to teach them how to be a decent citizen. And, unfortunately, we have bad players. But, I'll say that all county schools, we've got some really amazing people that are doing amazing things with our kids, despite the lack of support these kids have at home. Anything else? All right, y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Hi guys. So I am the secretary here at County Ga GOP. My name is Adele. I'd like to introduce Whitney. So I met Whitney in my search to get the mask off to my kids' teachers because it has caused significant developmental delays for my two little boys. So that's how I met Whitney through Quantum Liberty, and that's also why I started going to the school board meetings, even though the school board doesn't have jurisdiction over the daycares. There's really no other connection there. So Whitney, you're running for State Representative District 30. So whenever you like to, come up and let us know. Thank you.
I need her voice recorded so I can play it every morning in my bathroom. I literally had chills the whole time she was talking. It would be really easy for me to just get up here and say thanks for coming, ditto what the other two said, I'm out. But I'm not, because I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Whitney Pimentel. I am running for State House in District 30, which encompasses most of Hall County South and East, and a little bit of Gwinnett. First and foremost, I am a Christian. I am a wife. We've been married for 25 years. We just celebrated a couple weeks ago. I cannot believe it's been 25 years. And we have 3 kids. We have a daughter that is almost 21 years old. She's at Mississippi State University playing soccer for them. You're going to hear more about her in just a minute. And we have twin boys that are 18. One's at Middle Georgia to become an aviator like his dad. And the other is at Georgia College. And I
tell everybody jokingly, but not really jokingly, he's doing very well majoring in fraternity. So he has some great ideas for his future, some that your husband and I would not agree on. But they're great kids. We've worked really hard to raise them with great values, great conservative and moral principles, and we've raised them in the church. I was born in Georgia at Fort Gordon. My father was in the Army here, and we moved to Arkansas quickly after that. After he served his 2 years in the Army, he got into the education world. He was superintendent of the schools where we grew up, and unfortunately, he passed away when I was pregnant with the twins. So it's been about 19 years now he passed away. He was an amazing man, an amazing father. But I said that I was going to do everything in my power to get back to Georgia one day. And I finally got my way. My husband is a pilot for Delta Airlines, and I finally talked him into being based in Atlanta. He did not want to do it, but I said, I want to finish raising my kids in the South. And we did. We moved here with 3 kids going into high school. So I was very focused on helping their transition into high school, because as you can imagine, moving your children at those pivotal high school age, that was pretty tough. But we had to get them out of where they were, because I saw some of the indoctrination that was beginning. Charles reached out to me and asked me to come speak, and he did not realize I was going to be a candidate at that time. And he wanted me to come speak for Moms for Liberty, so I'm going to speak about a little bit of both of them today, if that's okay. I want to read you all something really quick that is in a article in a magazine, Center for Renewing America. Now, this was a quote from Professor Charles Pierce of the Department of Educational Psychiatry at Harvard. This was in 1973. So, thinking back to 1973, this is where it all started, and this was his quote to 2,000 teachers. Every child in America entering school at the age of 5 is insane because he comes to school with certain allegiances to the founding fathers, towards his parents, towards our elected officials, toward a belief in a supernatural being, and toward the sovereignty of this nation as a separate entity. It's up to you, speaking to teachers, to make all these sick children well by creating the international child of the future. Now, that was in 1973. I think we see some of the indoctrination that is happening. I will tell you all a story, and my daughter is going to kill me once she realizes that this is my platform, but this is what happened. We were in the middle of the pandemic. Those first 2 weeks, I was all in, like the quote was around this county. I was willing to do what I needed to do to stop the spread. I was worried for my children. I was worried for my parents. I was worried, right? Then I started looking around, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Schools are closed. Churches are closed. Liquor stores are open, and Home Depot's open, and my husband's still flying an airplane. Something's not making sense. So, right? So my kids come home, and Hannah comes home after being in Mississippi State for 6 months, and she says to me, Mom, do you realize that my D1 SEC teammates, she plays soccer in Mississippi State, are oppressed? And I said, do what? And she said, Mom, they're oppressed. They have really hard lives. She goes, and we have committed to that. And I said, hold on. You're telling me your D1 SEC teammates who have scholarships, who played soccer at a very high level in order to get recruited to Mississippi State are oppressed? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, my child, we have a lot to talk about because we did not raise you like that. 6 months. It took 6 months for Mississippi State to indoctrinate her and completely change her way of thinking. So I realized then that we needed to do something. We are in a great place in Hall County. I love what Hall County is doing. I support what Hall County is doing. I created Moms for Liberty, and I feel I have a really good working relationship with the school board. Mark. I have not come in there with pitchforks, screaming and yelling and protesting. I have come in and said, how do we work together to protect our children and teach these parents what they need to pay attention to? We have great teachers where we are. We really do. All it takes is a couple of rogue ones to teach these children what this quote says right here and insert their opinions and their politics into the curriculum. CRT, social emotional learning,
action civics, equity in math, there's 1,000 buzzwords for this. And they can sit back and tell me all day long, it's not in the curriculum, and they're right, it's not in the curriculum. It is them inserting their opinions into what is being taught. And we've got to get back to the basics. We've got to teach these kids how to balance a checkbook. We've got to teach these kids how to be polite. We've got to teach these kids to get off their phones and stop texting and get off social media and make a phone call and have a conversation. That's what I want to get back to. So I am running on that platform, and when I realized that this was going to be an open seat, I quickly gathered my thoughts, took some time to pray about it. I wanted to make sure my family was in the right place, but I'm also a speech therapist. I travel around the country. I used to travel internationally. But I travel around the country working with other therapists to introduce plans to help children like Shelley's child, which is how Shelley and I quickly became fast friends. And I work with the Down Syndrome Foundation down in Orlando, Florida, and then I have a client in Utah who has amazing resources and they're able to fly me out once a month to work with their child. But I wanted to make sure that those clients were behind me and that I could pause when I need to pause to focus on this. And with my children being out of the house, I have the time and I have the ability. I'm not afraid to be the only one standing in the room saying no to something. I, like Mac and Jelly, cannot be bought. I absolutely cannot. I stand for the Constitution. I, like Mac, carry this in my pocket as well. And when I sat down during COVID and I looked and I realized that we have forgotten the first 3 words of the Constitution, which is we the people. And if we do not start standing up and holding these elected officials accountable, we're doomed. We see what's happening. We see what's happening with the Biden agenda and AOC. And Lord help us, don't let Stacey Abrams win. Right? We've got to come together as a party. I had the privilege of sitting down with Leader Burns, the majority leader in the House. I had the privilege of sitting down with him the other day. And I asked him specifically, are we too far gone as a party, not across the aisle, because I do believe across the aisle is important as well, that they are so far set in their progressive agenda. It's going to be difficult to work with them, but I'm not afraid to stand up to them. But are we too far gone as a Republican Party to come together? And he said he doesn't think so. He said, I believe that we can work. I have raised 3 children. I'm not scared of a good fight. I am not. And I remind my children of that every day. I'm going to work hard for the people in District 30. I have put my cell phone on everything. I put my email on everything. And I make sure that I'm accessible. Because what happens is we get down to that Capitol, and I don't want to change who I am. But it is up to my constituents to hold me responsible for what they elected me for.
Amen.
And if they don't reach out to me and tell me the concerns when I'm down at the Capitol, I'm not going to know. Because I'm going to do my best to be everywhere I can, but I'm one person. So I need you all to get behind me. I need you all to tell me what you hear. I need you to tell me the concerns so that I can make sure I'm down there representing the people that voted me into office. I'm pro-Second Amendment. I am pro-life. I am for voter integrity. We've got to get this mess straightened out. The Democrats play the game really well. We have to learn how to play better. So we've got a lot of work to do ahead of us to take care of that. And I am pro-Constitution. And I, Matt, 1,000% agree with what you said. We've got to switch this back around. And we have got to take a hold of we the people and do our jobs. I think we all saw during COVID that local elections have just as much impact as federal elections. And that's why I decided to stand up and run. We can't do anything about the indoctrination of our children at just the school level if I'm on the school board. But if I go down to the Capitol, I can make sure that at the higher levels, we can do something about it. And I know it's a start, the 10% cut in fees that the colleges get if they're caught teaching any critical race theory. That's a start. There has to be more that has to be done. We've got to hold these people accountable. There's lots of legislation that's going on in parents' Bill of Rights. It's fantastic. It's a good start. It's not enough. The transparency is there, but as Shelley said too, it's there. We want parents to be involved in the education process. We want them to go through the curriculum, but as I said, this is not curriculum. This is them inserting their opinions. So if we don't have some sort of hotline in place where parents can call and teachers can call and say, I found out this is being taught in my school.
how do we hold them accountable? So that's what I really wanna do. I stand for freedom, and, I hope that you will get behind me. Go to whitneyforgeorgia.com to learn more. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Yes, Mr. Gray.
Thank you. You got the education part down. That's about a third of the Georgia budget, and about 10 billion of the $30 billion budget. But as a guy who has to commute every day to Atlanta, like your husband would have to go to the airport, we have infrastructure issues. What plans do you have, or would you propose to help resolve the issues that we have infrastructure-wise that can help Georgia continue to grow? Because growth is coming whether we like it or not.
You're exactly right. And I definitely don't want to get left behind with that growth. I'm for good growth. I really am. But we have to make sure we have the infrastructure in place. So I'm gonna have to sit down with the transportation committee and find out, what are these plans? What are we doing to make sure we're not taking people's property away to expand a road, and we have a good system in place to be able to handle all these apartment complexes that are going in all over the place. And we need to be showing up to those meetings to say, hey, what are we doing? What is the city council doing? What's the Hall County Council doing? What are we doing to make sure that infrastructure is in place? Shelley has great points about that. So I'll have to sit down with the transportation department and find out, because we can't handle much more traffic. I see it on Martin Road every day. They've got trucks pulled over, and I feel bad for the truckers, but they need to read the signs. They can't go down that road, but they don't know where else to go. There's just not enough roads for them to get where they need to go, especially with all the warehouses and things that are going in. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Hi everyone, I'm Charles Weisman, the first vice chair of County Ga GOP, and thank you so much for everyone coming in. I'd like to take a couple moments real quick. Yes, I'm using the microphone because I like the sound of it. Anyway, I would just like to put on the floor basically for everyone. If you have any suggestions for candidates coming in for the forum, please email me at firstvicechair@hallgop.org. Sorry, I don't want to email myself, so it's a little work my memory there. Also, we have a special guest here. We have Aaron. He's here to speak for Josh Clark. I'd like to give him a little bit of time so he can sort of gloss over a little bit about Josh and the things that he's probably doing. I heard what you're doing, and I'd like you also to let everyone know what you're about to embark on, which is an exciting blessing. So without further ado, I'm not going to take any more time, but please, if you have any idea for any candidates or any ideas, if you want to get involved with candidates, I have contact information such as phone banking. Please contact me.
You want me to use the mic or not? Or if you want to. I'm good. You hear me fine? Awesome. Well, guys, it's so wonderful to be here. Seeing people come out like this is amazing because I'm young. I'm only 21. I need to see the youth. I need to see the old people getting out so that I have a future in America, as we know this. So super, super thankful for all you candidates, all you people willing to come out for this. But like you said, my name is Aaron. I'm actually Josh's wife's youngest brother. So I have 11 siblings. There's 12 of us in my family. And we all love each other. Same mom and dad, still married. It's a wonderful family, and we get along wonderful, which is insane to me. But I just like to add that to kind of go over into Josh's family. Boaz actually just walked out. He has 10 siblings. They all get along, really love each other. It's so cool to see that because the one reason is we're faith-based. We go deep into the roots of faith. We truly believe God is the only way. And Josh, who I represent, is my brother-in-law, and I've grown up with him my whole life. He's done a wonderful job actually taking part in raising me and making the man I am today, and it's because his faith alone has done that. But like Charles said, so thankful they gave me this opportunity. I actually get to leave to go be a missionary in Costa Rica May, right after the primary, which I'm super excited. And I actually own a business outside of Atlanta doing town contracts. We take care of all their exterior maintenance. And why I mention that is because Boaz as well helps run a construction company. And we were both doing phenomenal. It's a season to be in construction right now. It's a season to be in that market. And we both gave that up because we got together and we said, you know what Josh is doing, seeing the man he is, looking at the candidates, looking at the race, he is the guy for this. And so we said, we're gonna sacrifice and we're gonna make this commitment to him so that he can go on and win this race so that we can have a future in America, that we can actually be able to do what we wanna do this construction company, do the extra maintenance of the town contracts in Atlanta, and actually make the money and keep it in our pockets to support our family and life in the future. But I say that to say, would you take 20 seconds of your time or 20 minutes of your time to make the smallest sacrifice, look at that push card, read his values, go onto his website, read his values, and I really believe you're gonna think, wow, why haven't I seen this before? Why is he not out there as much as he is? But we're getting out there. Like I've talked to so many of you guys, they're all like, you are everywhere. And why that is because there's a lot of people that have seen us, and there's a lot of people like Boaz and I, that are willing to say, I'm willing to give up my time for this guy. You need to pay attention to that, guys. There's not another single candidate in this race that walks into a room with 20 people behind him that are not paid. That are not paid to be there. There's not another candidate that walks in and says, I stand for these people, I've lived with these people, and they say, I back him up. Right? With the first event we came to, I think we had like 45 people that walked in behind him. Cross country team, the schools he worked at, the churches worked out. Every person is loved on by Josh and seen by Josh, and people say, all right, I'm willing to go with that guy. And that's kind of enough about me and where I've come from. And now I'll move into who Josh is and why you really should vote for him. And the thing is, if you go throughout the race, you see there's a lot of candidates. Who's been keeping up with the U.S. Senate race? Anybody? Okay, so you know there's really 5 main candidates. The biggest one, let's hear his name. Herschel Walker, right? I'm not going to sit up here and bash Herschel. I'm not going to sit up here and bash Bill McKinnon. I'm not going to sit up here and bash Latham or whoever. But do your research. Please do your research. Because Josh is the only one in this race with people to back him up freely. He's the only one in this race that you see the proven conservative. He's the only one to have legislative experience. He served 2 terms in the state house as District 98. He earned the Defender of Liberty Award up there. If you don't know what that is, it's 100% proven conservative record. It's pretty much saying he was the guy to say, no, these are our constitutional rights. No, this is where God called us to be. He was that guy the whole time. He never changed. When we voted him in there, he did what he said he was going to do. He left unopposed because Josh's biggest saying is, I believe politics is for a season. It's not made to be a career. So that's why he already signed a term limit. That's why he already said, I'm not going to go up there like Nancy Pelosi. I'm not going to go up there like Biden and make a career out of this. I believe it's for a season. I'm going to serve the people and I'm going to leave. So please, that's all I'm going to do today, just because we have 2 minutes. I would love to go on and on about Josh because he's been such a wonderful mentor to me. He's been such a wonderful mentor to the cross-country team that I coach with him as well. But please, let him show you who he is. Get to meet him, maybe go to an event with him, because I guarantee you meet this guy, and you're going to say, there's no one else to vote for, guys. There really isn't. A guy that has that backup, that has the experience, that has the people who love him behind him, has a loving wife, family. I've seen my sister married to him for, what is it now? 21?
21 years, we're 19.
21 years.
We're 19, he's 21.
And she still says to this day, he's the greatest guy I've ever known in my life since I was 2 years old. For a woman to say that to me as my sister, you know there's something about him that you need to look at. So please take your time, really research him, understand who's the best candidate, and I really feel like you are going to get that from him. So that's all I have for you guys.
I wanted to know exactly who he was because I was up there when the truckers, the convoy came to, yes, in Brazelton, and I was like, who is this dude? I never seen his name before until I seen that big bus roll up.
Yeah.
So listening to what you have to say about there's another person in the Senate race, I feel like he does need that fair shake and fair chance. So I would like for him to come on my show because there are more people than Gary Black, Latham, Herschel Walker, the same old people. And I would love to rather get behind someone that is constitutional, conservative, but also saved by the blood of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And not scared to say it. You've been in your life for 21 years, you're just a babe.
He's getting, one thing he didn't say was, what's your wedding date?
May 28th.
So May 28th, so May 24th, we're celebrating, all of us celebrating good wins. However the Lord puts it for this election. They get married on May 28th, and him and his wife are heading to Costa Rica for missionaries for, what's your initial commitment right now?
Well, there's no commitment, but our goal is 7 years.
Yeah. Gonna go down there and do the Lord's work down there, but he wants to get the country right before they leave, so it's neat. So it's good groups around all of us, so.
Is there any quick questions or anything for me real quick before I head out? Awesome.
It was gonna be Smarty.
Are you? I don't know, I kinda wanna hear it now.
Yeah. Okay, so I like Josh a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, I like him when he's a state rep, love. But he's politically challenged and he doesn't have a high school.
Whoa.
So, and I know he's got a great family, because I've met a lot of you guys go out crossing. But that's a tough race.
Absolutely.
And
I believe it's the toughest right now in Georgia.
Right. So what campaign plan do you have? Because
Yeah.
I listen, I'm all about telling my family and friends, Josh Clark, I think is the right guy, but
Yeah.
I want them to.
Yeah, so you're asking, how are we gonna get the name,
Yeah.
how are we gonna make his name recognition known so that people are gonna vote for him?
Right.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So as you see, you're gonna see us everywhere with teams at 6 events every weekend. You're gonna see us everywhere, every single night we're at events, every single day we're at breakfasts, every single day we have teams putting out signs everywhere. We've only been in this race really since January 1st. Because we entered late because we said we have to do this. Josh is not wanting to come up and say, I wanna be in office, like I desire that for a career. He's not that type of guy. He wants to be with his wife, he wants to be with his kids, he wants to be building a business that's gonna last a legacy. Okay? He's not that type of guy that wants a career in it. So that's why he got in, like he said, geez, I have to. Because God is really tearing my heart, I don't wanna do this. But so our campaign plan. We came in late, we've matched everybody in and exceeded them in funding day by day. I think we already have the most signs out like everywhere within our region, about I would say 100-mile radius of Flowery Branch. Now we're taking teams, dividing the state up into 3 regions. We're gonna have teams in each region. Like us, we're gonna be going to GOPs every single day, every single night. We're getting speaking on radio shows. And then the biggest thing is we're just building that grassroots movement. We are building that team. We have people like Boaz and I that are businessmen that are willing to do that. We got Jeff, one of the greatest businessmen I've known, that's going to take this grassroots movement and just boom. You're gonna see us. We've already got teams everywhere that are just huge.
Josh also, he walked away from his career. He was executive vice president for an international company for U.S. and Canada. So he walked away. He's not working at the same time. They've moved into the bus as a family. So they're living in that bus full time on the campaign trail as a dedication to be able to work that as well too, in addition to what Boaz. So,
But what I'm hearing is grassroots is gonna be 90% of your effort.
I don't know if I'd say that now.
what would you, as opposed to what else?
Well, I
Just
mean,
take it
TV, mailing, whatever. I mean,
We do have mailers going out, yes, sir. We do have a presence through the web, through social media, so what we can get through on the social medias as well too. Do a lot of radio reviews and stuff like that as well too. Not so much TV just yet.
Right.
But that will be a part of the campaign as well too.
Okay.
One thing we're not doing, if you go on the FEC reports and you download and look at what other candidates in the race have been doing, what we didn't do was we didn't get in the race in August and spent $894,000 on a consultant.
Right.
In the first 3 months.
Right.
And then another 956, look at the FEC reports for the second quarter. We're not spending $700,000 to $1 million worth of consultants to craft Josh to be someone that he's not.
Gotcha.
Everyone that's in our campaign is essentially volunteer and has been involved in this world from the political regions from years and years and years and years. So we're doing that from ourselves. We're not hiring a consultant to do that part.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd love for you to judge us May 24th, see where our campaign is there.
One more thing, I'll just say him is listening to everything you're talking about. You're running against Warlock. Okay, that's why I call him
That's
Warlock,
true.
because he's an ordained minister that actually advocates for safety. Now, I used to think that Herschel Walker would be the one because they're gonna try to hit y'all with the race issue and with the social justice stuff.
Yep.
But I truly believe it's gonna take the blood of Jesus Christ to take and win over that seat from a demon. But that's just the way, I'm kinda liking you even more.
Yeah. You would love to talk to Josh. That's the only reason why he got into this race, is because he believes that's what it's gonna take, is to beat the devil, you have to have God.
Amen.
But we also truly believe, and exactly what you said, if you want to talk biblically about it, which I will till the day is long, for me and what Josh talked about a lot is there's a reason why they put that tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden, right? We got a choice. We were given a choice. We get to choose the actions that we take. As every voter in this room, we get to choose who we're going to vote for. We don't get to choose our consequences. People think we get to choose our consequences. We don't. It's going to take us standing up to be able to put good people in office. If we pray every day for our people, that's a great thing. But if you think that you're just going to pray for an immoral individual that's going to all of a sudden be moral when they go vote the right way when they're in office, we got another thing coming. So that's part of our life and our thought process, is that we're stepping up And we believe that God's really pushing behind him to be able to get there in office. And it's our decision and the people's decision whether or not we decide to do that in this office or not. Get good Christian people up there and represent the state of Georgia and keep the federal government out of our mess. And do the things we're supposed to do so we can keep the rest of the world out of our country. Go that route.
All right, thank you guys so much. If you will, like you said, how are we doing? Please take a sign around the room if you can support us in your yard. Grab brochures for me, whatever you need, we have it. Thank you guys.
So now that it got brought up that some people in this room have an issue with bald people. I remember that. That speaks a lot to me. We all know, as chair, at our chair position, we don't back any candidate. Our job is to get these people in front of you. That's our entire job. I do not back anybody, but I will tell you one thing. What I do, what Nikki does, what Charles does, what Trish does, what Megan does, Charlie's not here, Chris left, who am I missing? Denise, sorry. This is all volunteer. We don't get paid for this. This takes a lot of time. What I mean a lot of time is that this is definitely a 40-hour-a-week job. Nikki has been tirelessly working on with her father and with Chris on creating a new website for this county. That is well over 40 hours of all of that every week. Am I wrong? So hearing that people are stepping up for a candidate on their own dime, on their own time, they've shown up for Bruce Politics. This is a little shameless plug, I don't care. We are having Bruce Politics on Monday. Those of y'all who don't know what it is, what they all drink, don't drink, it doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's about us sitting at a table, enjoying a Coke, a glass of wine, a beer, and talking about politics and talking about what can we do for you and vice versa. Because I can't do this job. We can't make change in Hall County without you. Most of you know, Craig definitely knows this, I did not want this position. I've been very honest about that. I was told that if I did not run, that I would be elected from the floor. I chose to go ahead and do it anyways. So I'm here now. I'm here now, and I'm going to keep on doing this job the best I can, and I know my board has all said the exact same thing. So this is 100% volunteer. So hearing people that are stepping up, and they have been to Bruce Politics, so they can just meet the people who are involved in the Hall County Republican Party, and meet the people who show up for these meetings. This is important. This is important to pay attention to. Again, not hiring a consultant. That's huge. Sir?
I kind of count on the Republican Party to keep us informed. If there's going to be somebody come to town, I'd like to get an email from the Hall County letting me know that so-and-so is going to be in town at a certain time and place. I went when the governor came to town and we had almost all our elected officials there. There was almost nobody from the Hall County Republican Party.
I can actually answer that real quick.
So I'm just saying in the future.
Oh, no, I got this. Because I've been waiting to actually answer this question. Let me tell you how this works. First off, I cannot predict when these people show up. They have to tell me. They don't tell us anything. Josh, his people, tell me when they're going to be here. I have asked, we've gone tirelessly asking, if you're going to be in this county, let us know. You can't let me know 2 hours before because, like most of you, I have a real job. My job does take 60 hours a week to do. I own my company. Actually, I own 2 companies. So I have to put food on my table. So I hear what you're saying. Now, if you want candidates to start speaking up and saying, hey, why aren't you talking to the Hall County GOP? Please, I'll give you their numbers and you can ask them, why are you not communicating with us? We have gone out and asked them for that communication. And as far as you're also asking, Nikki is our communications chair. She does an amazing job getting out emails to everybody. We have 900 and change. It's over 1,000. So we send out to 1,000 different people who's on our email. When these candidates are going to be here, newsletters, it's stuff that comes out from districts, stuff that comes out from state. We send all this stuff out to everybody. If you're not on that mailing list, get up with us and we will fix that. But it's also on our Facebook. It's also on our Instagram. It's on the other countless platforms that we're on because I know some people don't like Instagram, some people don't like Facebook. It's a necessary evil. But we're also on a lot of different other platforms. So we are already doing that, but I cannot find out with the governor. I had no idea he was here, last time he was here. We're in contact with his people, but they don't communicate with us. I'm not gonna take responsibility for that, because last I checked, they work for us, not the other way around.
Amen.
Now, I do work for you guys as a volunteer, but I'm still gonna be doing this job 40+ hours a week for you guys. I'm still gonna give up my time, I'm still gonna give up time. Right now, my house is flooded, by the way. So I should be, right now, I should be actually working on that, but I'm here. And I will continue to be here, and I will continue to work with you guys. Now, if you're not on the email list, before you.
I am on the email list,
Okay,
have been for 15 years.
well, every time they let us know, we are very quick on getting that information out. But again, we are subject to when they let us know, when they let us know that they're here. There's been multiple occasions where we've had people that are running for Senate or that are running for House. We had no idea what they were going to do, not a clue. And I get a message from Nikki while I'm in the middle of training somebody at my gym saying, "Did you know about this?" No, I didn't. There are people who don't listen to us. So we are trying to fix that, and we are going to continue for people who are going to answer us. We're going to have them here because they're putting the effort to actually giving us good communication. So I'm going to take questions. Did we get any cards? I know all y'all are busy, so y'all have to leave. That's perfectly fine. If y'all have questions as well, y'all can send it to admin@hawkcountyGOP.org. But if y'all have questions, I am more than happy to answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'm just simply saying that, and we will write it down and I'll get the answer for you. So, any questions so far?